What's up, Philly fans? If you thought this window was closing, think again. The 2026 Philadelphia Phillies are built to win right now with star power, depth, and pitching for days. Let's break down the entire roster, from the aces to the dogs in the bullpen to the 40-man depth that keeps this team dangerous all season long. Let's get started. Cristopher Sanchez is going to make this roster once again. He's definitely one of the most underrated lefties in baseball with an elite changeup, weak contact, and ice-cold composure to help lead this team. Jesus Luzardo, a power lefty with swing and miss stuff. When healthy, a true postseason weapon. I consider him probably one of the more underrated pitchers in baseball, presently speaking. Aaron Nola, a precision pitcher, has been consistent over the years. A big-time pitcher who can anchor the rotation despite a rough 2025. But I do expect him to get back to his ways this upcoming 2026 season. Taijuan Walker, a veteran with flexibility, could be a spot starter, long relief. Great to have for playoff depth this upcoming postseason. And I do expect the future ace, Andrew Painter, to make the opening day roster. He has elite stuff, a franchise-changing talent, and I think he's going to be one of the top pitchers for the next 10 to 15 years, barring health. Hasn't pitched in the majors just yet, but he's going to make this roster. Now to the bullpen. Jhoan Duran, an absolute flamethrower, triple-digit heat, shuts the door with authority. One of the best closers in baseball. I expect nothing less this year. Brad Keller, recently acquired, a ground ball specialist. Definitely will get you tough outs when you need a double play. Expect him to be one of their setup men this upcoming season. Jose Alvarado, former closer for the Phillies. A power lefty with a nasty sink, still dominant in high leverage spots despite his suspension. But he will be on this team, and he will help this team get back to the playoffs. Orion Kerkering, very strong command. He's got a fearless mindset, attacks hitters, and a trusted late inning arm. Fortunately, had that error at the end of the season for the Phillies, but they've got all the faith in the world in Kerkering at the same time. Tanner Banks, a left-on-left weapon, matchup nightmare, will be consistent for this team for the entire season. Recently acquired Jonathan Bowlan, traded Matt Strom for him. It's more of a command first arm, control, and efficiency stabilizing this bullpen, back of the bullpen as well. Also, Zach Pop, who's got a power sinker, does have to keep the ball in the yard for sinker specialists. He does leave the ball up a little bit too much, but presently I see him making the roster. Zach McCambley is a Rule 5 draft pick, and high-risk, high-reward bullpen arm is one of the current top 30 prospects on their team, and I do expect him to make the roster and stick with this team throughout the season. Now to the everyday lineup. Now, I do think the Phillies are going to be adding some pieces. If you're questioning why I didn't speak on some pitchers, we'll get there shortly. Rafael Marchan, defense first catcher, strong game caller, will help this team throughout the season. I do expect the Phillies to bring back JT Realmuto. Reunion should be expected, would be a veteran presence for this team. But if not brought back, Garrett Stubbs is a trusted catcher clubhouse leader, pitcher-friendly catcher as well. But I do expect them to bring back JT Realmuto. Bryce Harper, face of the franchise, power for days, leadership, clutch gene, someone that the Phillies need to step up, and I expect him to. Bryson Stott, speed, solid defense, contact, sets the tone for this team. One of the better second basemen in all of baseball. Alec Bohm, run producer. Did have a rough year this past year, all considered. But a bat in the middle of the order that should succeed for this roster. Trea Turner, getting a little older, still has elite speed, solid pop, and his postseason experience will be heavily valuable for this roster. Also, they will retain Edmundo Sosa, has some defensive versatility, an energy player who will help the team win games with his hustle alone. To the outfield, power and more power for these Phillies in 2026. Kyle Schwarber is a tone center. Did sign him for a several-year contract here. I do expect him to be one of the top home run hitters again this upcoming season and for the foreseeable future. Otto Kemp, a backup, will help with positional flexibility, reliable depth piece for this roster. Brandon Marsh, strong in the field, likely to possibly slide into a platoon position player here shortly, but does grind out some gritty at-bats for this team. Adolis Garcia does have game-changing power, needs a little bit more consistency, much better fielder than Nick Castellanos, and I do expect him to be the everyday starter. Speaking of Nick Castellanos, is a shrieky but can be a very dangerous hitter, rough in the field. I could see him in spring training work a little bit at first base to give him some positional flexibility. Could also be a trade piece for the Phillies here shortly. And last but not least, to make the roster, I do expect Justin Crawford to be their starting center fielder. Heavily reported that they're going to give him every opportunity to. He does have above average defense, but crazy speed. More than likely going to steal 40 bases in the majors if he does play full time with good contact rates. Keep an eye out for him in spring training to make the roster. Presently is not on the 40-man at this time. Okay. All right, to the rest of the roster. 40-man roster. Johan Rojas. Gold glove, caliber defense, game-changing range. Not much power. Not the greatest hitter, but his defense and speed will help him contribute on the bench this year for the Phillies. Yoniel Corrett, a power arm with upside. Hasn't made the majors just yet to this point. I do expect him to get a few spot starts this season. Pedro Leon. He's got some good speed, arm strength, an upside piece. Has some injury issues the past couple years in the Astros organization, but I do expect him to remain on this 40-man roster in the near future here. Weston Wilson, a player that has some late game value, versatility, does have some fair amount of speed, but definitely a valuable bench piece for this team as well. Alan Ronhell, reliable innings eater. I do expect him to be the first starter if expecting a call-up, if there's any injuries to their starting rotation. Someone that could be a valuable piece here for the Phillies. Max Lazar, he's got control and deception. Will be up and down throughout the season for the Phillies here in 2026. Gabriel Rincones Jr., left-handed power potential. Hasn't made the majors yet. I do expect him to be tough to make the majors initially. If they do trade Castellanos, he will get a chance here come mid-season. But I do think it'll be rough to make opening day roster at this point. Kyle Backus was acquired not too long ago. Sneaky velocity, rising strikeout profile here. I do expect him to also be up and down on the 26-man roster. Alex McFarland, his velocity does play in short stints. It's been mostly a starter in the minors, but can be a rotational piece or fill in a spot in the bullpen. Hasn't made the majors yet at this point. I do expect him to make a few appearances this year. Seth Johnson, a high-octane arm, does need to have some developing consistency here. Will make about 10 to 15 games is what I would project this season. He will help the team on occasion. Nolan Hoffman, reliever that has some late inning potential here in the future. I do expect him to make some relief appearances for the Phillies again this year. Jean Cabrera, a command-focused starting depth. Hasn't made the majors. Might be the toughest for him to make any, play in the majors this upcoming year. We'll see, depending on injuries, how fast he can develop. Is a top 30 prospect here for the Phillies. And presently speaking, Zach Wheeler, I do not have on the initial 26-man. He is still recovering from his blood clots. It's to be determined how long he'll be out. I do expect him and the Phillies to take their time with it. If he's ready, he will be the ace of this team. The velocity, command, overall durability. Hopefully he can get back to health, and still absolutely one of the best pitchers in baseball. So hopefully he can get back to health and help this team this upcoming year. Moises Chase, also presently expected to miss the early parts of the season, is recovering from Tommy John surgery. Long-term rotational upside, hasn't made the majors to this point. But I do believe he's got a good amount of potential to remain on this Phillies team in the future to come. Now, with that also said, I do believe the Phillies are not done with making moves. I do think Franher Suarez will be returning here in the near future. Never know, but I think the compensatory pick could mislead teams to adding him. It's been a quiet offseason for him thus far, and I do expect him to return to the Phillies and the rotation here shortly. Final take. This Phillies roster is deep, experienced, and built for October. Has an elite rotation when everyone's healthy, an absolutely nasty bullpen, and MVP-level bats. And the farm and 40-man depth ensures that this team's going to survive the grind and make the playoffs this season. But the issue for the Phillies is they aren't just chasing playoff spots, they're chasing another parade. Red October isn't going anywhere. Let's see how far they can go. Drop your 2026 predictions for the Phillies here down below. Please leave a like, subscribe, and keep an eye out for more videos. Thanks, everybody. Happy New Year's.